Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Good morning, everyone. This is going to be an English conversation. So I know a lot of us are bilingual. So I'm very, very excited about our guest this morning. It's somebody that has done a lot of waves in the West Valley. Somebody I know personally. I have participated with her in different leadership initiatives here in the Valley, but mainly she leads or she's part of the leadership in one of the places in Arizona that are very close to my heart because that's where we immigrated years ago, Buckeye, Arizona. So I'm going to welcome this morning Michelle Hess, and she's looking to be reelected to the city council in Buckeye. How are you, Michelle? Good morning.
I'm great. Thank you so much, Mary. It's a pleasure to be here. Really an honor. Thank you so much.
Well, you know what? This conversation is very interesting to me because, as you know, most of my family still lives in Buckeye. That's where we grew up when we immigrated here to United States many years ago. But it's still close to my heart. I'm there. There's a lot of businesses that were created from my family. I'm going to count them to give you the exact number. But particular, since 1990, the growth of Buckeye has been tremendous. Tell me a little bit about why Buckeye, why your family, what are some of your values, and why you want to keep, leading this growth in the West Valley.
Yeah, so thank you so much. We came here in 2006, but we actually planted some seeds here earlier. I am married to a fireman, and he originally was looking between here and another city. We were just really, really drawn to both of these cities, and they kind of were very similar in that they had this hometown feel. And so we were excited when we actually landed in Buckeye, but he reserved here for a couple years. And so we had the opportunity to just really dive in as soon as we got here. We served in the community. We created something called Turkey Fest. We got involved in the parades and so forth. And it just got my heart from the moment I got here. Our community was fairly new, so we all moved in on the block at the same time. And although we weren't all young families, we were a nice little melting pot of older and our young families. And it was really just an amazing opportunity to raise our kids. And we continue to love it here. We continue to invest in here. And so I just, it's captured my heart. And I'm sure you and your family feel the same way. There's just something about Buckeye. We just have an incredible heritage, and just the people are just so genuine and loving. We just love it.
I'm looking at a picture on the side of this on my screen of you and your family, your husband, your three kids. And, it was about the same age. We were teenagers, most of my older sisters and myself. And when I said older, is under me because I'm the oldest, but we got to Buckeye in 1990. And the growth has been tremendous. I'm the oldest of 9 kids. I share this with my public a lot. But, the opportunities of the American dream for many of us when we immigrated here in 1990, it was tough, but Buckeye was home to us. And we have given back to Buckeye a lot with several businesses in the family, but also we've been part of that growth as you have been driving the growth now in this leadership position. My dad complains every day about the traffic. When we moved there in 1990, we're about 10,000 population. Tell me a little bit about the growth in Buckeye in these last few decades.
Yeah, so in 1990s, there was some laws passed, and it was called strip annexation. And it was the opportunity to allow cities to go ahead and draw larger boundaries so that they weren't cutting into each other constantly. And so at that time, Buckeye really kind of drew this very large map, and our destiny was kind of set at that point in time. And so really in the 90s to early 2000s, our destiny was set, and now it's ours to steward. And so we try to partner that with our heritage and tremendous growth. And so that really put us on the map. I think people looked even in the 90s, as you said, your family found it way sooner than we did. And so it's really this land of opportunity, and it continues to be. We've seen so much growth, and we continue to, we were actually one of the bronze winners for Core Power, one of the largest investments in the state, number 3. But we also continue to see that on the small side, right? We see that our small businesses, we're starting to see them really starting to thrive in downtown. And I'm so grateful for all the owners that have been there, that have planted and anchored and stayed there, because it was really, if we didn't have businesses that had been here all along, we wouldn't have anything to build on. And so we're so grateful for that. This last year, we did the downtown specific area plan, where we had the opportunity to bring all of our neighbors together, the business owners, and really cast vision, because that's what we were hearing from the development world. There's like, what was your idea? What's your vision for downtown? What's your vision for the Verrado area? And so we really have been trying to set visions along with our residents so that we can cast that. So people don't just bring us what they want. We really need to cast that vision. And so that's what we were doing with the downtown specific area plan. We implemented the Catalyst grant about a decade now ago, where we really have a lot of matching funds for our revitalization of the downtown. And so we're seeing these buildings, coming alive downtown. And we've also reduced our permit fees in the downtown area by 75%, because we really believe in the small businesses in the downtown area. And so, yeah, those are just some of the things we're trying to steward. We're trying to get ahead of the big infrastructure. We're already focusing on another Dean interchange to add to Verrado, Dean, Watson, and Miller. And so we really see the growth coming, and we're trying to do the best that we can to cast that vision early, speaking with our legislators, trying to get those monies. We're still fighting for that extra lane on the 10, and then our local streets. That's a combination of developers in the city. And so really new growth tends to put in that, and which kind of makes it kind of awkward to like, okay, you got to do your part, now we'll do our part. And it's this weird dance, right? I just feel like we're like an awkward teenager. We're like, kind of like,
yeah. Dancing is something my family does very well, Michelle. Let me tell you, we love dancing, but also creating business. You said something very important, the small business community, which is really driving the force of the growth within Buckeye. And I got to brag about this. In my family, there's 7 businesses, including my business, Mary Rabago Productions, was created in Buckeye, right? But also just to see the growth of the population, the integration that there is now with the Latino community. Tell us a little bit about what is the percentage of residents that you serve within the Buckeye area. And one thing that people don't know, the Buckeye used to be a town, now it's a city, and is one of the largest in territorial in the state. Tell me a little bit about that. A handful of questions for you.
Yeah, so we are the largest city by land mass. We don't anticipate to overtake Phoenix. We really have a lot of open spaces that we've intentionally preserved so that we won't really reach that growth. But we have seen, when I moved here in 2006, we were hovering in the population of the 50s. So, and we're now close to 120,000 in population, just under it. And of that, what we've seen from 2020 to 2022, we have even seen the Hispanic population. It was already a larger population. We were in the upper 38s. And I say we because I'm Puerto Rican and not Mexican. My mom really raised us. So it was the Puerto Rican side comes out a little bit more. Yeah, and now we're at almost 42% here in Buckeye alone. So it's a huge
large number of that is my family. Let me tell you, I have a huge family. Very fast and easy.
Yeah, so that's kind of, that's huge. That is unprecedented. We continue to be one of the top 5 fastest growing cities, usually within the state and in the nation. Again, it's just exciting times around here. That destiny was already set for us. Again, we're just trying to steward it with good planning, good decision making, having great conversations and relationships like what we have. We can have great conversations and ask. We've talked about how can we, better communicate. That has been a conversation you and I have had a lot over the years. And we're slowly making
we're getting there little by surely. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I know that for this part of our conversation, it's obvious that economic development and growth, it's one of your priorities in your agenda, and looking for re-election. And now also very important is public safety, the water issues. There are 2 other issues that they're very close, and it doesn't matter what language you speak, what color of your skin. These are issues that impacts all of us when we talk about the people living within the Buckeye boundaries. What is it that you're bringing to the table different? We know you have served the Buckeye community for a while, and remind the people how long you've been in this position and how much you have contributed. I think it's important to brag about, your years of service within that community.
Just to touch on really quick that economic development piece, that is to me very tied to your education as well. And so as I don't directly make any policies for any education community, but I've really partnered alongside with the education community as well to make sure that we are good partners. And we created what was called Buckeye, Read on Buckeye. And that is really coming alongside them and saying, how can the city do a better job communicating with you? How can we come alongside and support your vision? And so some of that has been through our reading program. Some of that has been like book draws and stuff like that. But that is directly tied to economic development too. And I think it's super important. But public safety, it is a very important thing. I really feel like if you don't feel safe, you're not going to love where you live. You're not going to enjoy where you live. And so that really is a big reason why that has been important to me. And since COVID, we have really seen as well that it's important to take care of those who are taking care of us. We've seen a lot of burnout. We've seen more mental health issues. And so it's been this fine balance of giving what our public safety people need to make sure that they succeed to take care of you. So it's taking care of the caregivers. And so really that has been kind of a shift. So because of our odd growth, because I'll call it that, because we had that popcorn, if anybody has driven or seen any of our Facebook pages, we've got a community that's 42 or 44 miles away from downtown and they need to be served. And then we've got Tartesso that is another 20 miles from downtown Buckeye. And so instead of being, growing outward, we really had this popcorn growth and it really forced us to be bigger than we were faster. So we are now building our 7th fire station in Blue Horizons. And so just keeping up with the growth has been one of the things that we are doing as a city, making sure we have the officers, making sure we have the fire stations and the fire trucks and the equipment needed. We've also tried to use some technology to fill in the gaps where we can't. If we just don't have the manpower, how can we really duplicate ourselves in different ways? And then we're really focusing on the mental health side as well. And so we have some health and safety officers. I know what's unique with right now in our fire department is we're working on implementing a therapy dog program. And so our dog is a therapy dog. We actually did that last year to see what that would look like. And so one of our Australian Shepherds is now a therapy certified dog for specific fire, police, and emergency operation centers. And so when I really say that, it really does mean a lot. We put our money where our mouth was. We put our dog through training and spent hours over there. And so that's really important. And then we really can't grow without water. And so water was never a topic that I ever thought I would be this educated on ever in my life. As somebody that has a ministry background and nonprofit, I just didn't know I would know the water sources and the TDSs and all these weird things. And so stewarding that as well. So we've really had to stretch in our I guess in our relationships, when the governor made the declaration that we had no water, we have water. We are actually sitting on several water tables. We have the water. But we've really had to rely on those relationships we've had regionally, as well as at the state level, to really lobby and have our voice be heard at the table. And so that's what we've done for the last 2 years, is really rely on some of our senators and our other mayors and council members to really help us get our voice heard, to make sure that we ensure that we have a reliable water source for the future. Our homes all have 100-year water supply, and it's kind of like an ecosystem. For every gallon that's taken out, we have to put a gallon in. And so we're just really making sure that we're really talking and making sure everybody's at the table, whether it's a legislator making a bill for ground, rule, the ag to urban, whatever it was. Senator Kerr has done a great job. Senator Dunn, we've all done an incredible job to work with us and help make sure that Buckeye is heard and that we get the opportunity to grow just like the other cities. This is really being something
inclusive and leadership. They are very important. And talking about leadership, excuse me if I interrupt, but this conversation you're having, it took me back to my time in Leadership West, class 23, and how the importance of water, the resources, and conservation was highlighted through our training with Leadership West. And I know it's another one of your leadership examples of what you're doing in the community, how you're growing the West Valley, not only Buckeye, but how you're extending that leadership and bringing resources to Buckeye. I want to close our conversation, Michelle. First of all, remind them how long you've been serving the Buckeye area as a city council and why why they should re-elect you. Under our faces right now, there is the website where I invite you to go to learn more about Michelle Hess, to share this video, and to move forward with the growth of Buckeye.
Yeah, so I've been serving for 12 years, but really beyond that, we serve. And no matter what happens, I will continue to serve this community because I love it and I believe in it. And so, yeah, we've been 12 years, and I didn't take this job lightly. I didn't take it as just, this is what I need to do, or a title. I really took it, and that's actually what led me to Leadership West. Is I wanted to be the best I could be in this role. And so I did the program called Leadership West because I wanted to make sure that I knew how every decision I made is connected to another decision. There is nothing that we do that isn't connected to something else. And there's always unintended consequences. And if we can figure out how we connect with healthcare, how we connect with education, with water, with public safety, quality of life. And so that's why I went through Leadership West, fell in love with it, and now the executive director when that opportunity came. It's really about this network of people that want to make a difference in their jobs and in their communities, because they know that decisions are often mostly made here that affect you the most, that make the most impact. And so that's what I wanted to do. I just came to make sure that we grew in a great manner and with common sense, and somebody that just loved the city. And everybody I serve with, we really do love the city, and I'm trying to make the best decisions possible. And I just think Buckeye is such an incredible place. As I said in the beginning, we have such a future ahead of us. These are exciting times. We all believe in Buckeye, or else we wouldn't be here. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to fight the good fight for Buckeye. I want to fight for the water. I want to fight for the infrastructure. We need our I-10. We shouldn't be left out. The East Valley shouldn't be constantly getting all the projects. I'm going to continue to fight that fight for us. And so I want to make sure that our, public safety is taken care of, so you are. So I want to just make sure our kids are thriving. I want the same opportunities my kids had here. I want them to be able to live here if this is where they choose to be, and I make sure they don't get priced out. So really, I just want to keep fighting. I feel like I've just given it my all. I'm open, available. I return calls. I do all the things. I'm out in the events, at 4th of July, I'm at the Easter events. Those aren't just something I do election years. That's where I meet a lot of people. It's just being out and about, because
building those connections and those relationships.
Yeah, I believe in it. And I'm a very relational person. That's what it's about. I don't ever want to burn a bridge. I'm all about building people and building communities. And that's really what it is at the end of the day.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for your time for this conversation. So you're watching right now. Please go ahead and share this link, share the video, and go and visit YES4HESS.com. Thank you so much, Michelle. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.